What? Welcome back to Chronicles of Power, a podcast dedicated to the world of power, where I review and break down the latest episode in the Powerverse. We are brought to you by Private Listed, your source for all things music, sports, culture, and entertainment. My allergies are killing me right now, so if you cannot understand a word that I am saying, it is because I am severely congested. If you love me, you can find me on YouTube at PVTLSTD. Also, please follow us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, wherever it is that you listen to your podcast, because you can listen to us and you can also see my face and my reactions as I go through some of the stupid things that people do on these shows. And today, oh, well, one more thing that I have to ask you guys to do. I know whenever I start off the episode, I'm always begging, right? Well, here's one more beg. If you follow or subscribe, in addition to doing those things, to which we are extremely grateful for, if you can tell a friend who is also someone that watches Power or likes to think about fan theories and have a whole bunch of things going on in their head about what's happening with the characters, tell them about the show. Because you know what I noticed? I live in New York, by the way. If I'm sure you can hear all the noise, let them go by. All right. What you can do is you can tell a friend about the show. You can write a review. You can tell me what you don't agree with what I'm talking about, right? That helps. The reviews help. You sharing the show helps. All of it helps. So, for all of you who have done that, thank you very, very much. Also, today we have my bestie, Tessie, with me today. The beautiful, the incomparable, the gifted spirit finger hands. Mema Creations is in the building with us today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was
Thank
such an
you.
amazing intro.
Ooh, I love that for us. So last week, let me tell you, Mema is booked and busy. I'm hanging on by threads. I'm surprised she can even be on the show with me anymore. And I'm really appreciative because I tried to film this episode at least 4 times over the past
Wow.
3 days. But because of Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to everyone. It has been a challenge trying to get this out. And obviously my allergies are killing me, so I can barely talk. But we are here today and I could not let this episode go by without reviewing it. And also just some quick show notes. If you have not watched the London Brown interview, please go and do so. It is available on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast. So remember, you're going to search for at Chronicles of Power on all of your podcast platforms. And if you're looking for it on YouTube, you're going to go to PVT. LSTD. And you can also find that in the show notes if you want to see the actual interview because he looked amazing and he's very expressive when he talks. So I think it will be a better experience for you to actually watch the interview than just listening. But either way, I'm appreciative. So check out the London Brown interview. And now let's get into Raising Kanan, episode 409, written by Sasha Penn, directed by Ben Seminoff. That's actually a new name. I haven't seen him on the director's list before, not for Power anyway. And the title of this episode I actually did not write down. So I'll say it before we end the show because I'm gonna look for it right now. And we'll start this episode off quickly. And I'll tell you like a brief synopsis. So Kanan, he's suspicious of Rock's involvement. He's investigating Krystal's disappearance. Rock is also facing continued fallout from Unique's retaliation and Marvin's mistakes. And Jukebox is revisiting her past, and Lou embraces his future or his new path. Now, normally we start this show off with our 3 things that we like and 3 things that we didn't really like about the show. And we are going to do that. But there is a bit of news that I did want to tackle. Uh, so it just came out that Joseph Sikora, who plays Tommy on Force and the original Power, he says that he is going to be directing something with Raising Kanan. So maybe in 2026, we're going to see Joseph Sakura, who plays Tom, excuse me, who plays Tommy in the director's chair. How do you feel about that,
Okay.
Mima?
I'm excited. I want to see, his director stance and what he might add something, a little more pizzazz to it. So I like that, especially because he's a power, what do you call it, OG. So
Yes.
I think
You
I'm
know,
looking forward to that.
yeah, I am looking forward to it too. I'm always curious to see what is an actor turned director's viewpoint in terms of directing, because they have a different experience both in front of the camera, and then I like to see how it translates, excuse me guys, behind the camera. So I'm curious about what type of shots he's going to do and how he's going to feature the actors in his directing. So we'll see. I'm curious about it. And we did find out that, so we saw a little bit of a teaser trailer for Force, to which Force is ending this year. They should be coming back in September, October-ish, because they said fall. And so that would be the third and final season. And then also, we saw that Raising Kanan season 5 is returning for 2026. So Raising Kanan, they've already filmed season 5. It's done. It's in the books, and it'll be back for 2026. And they showed us like some sneak peeks from that. And I saw Jukebox crying in a car and holding someone, and I'm like, who is that? So we have a whole slew of things to theorize about in our off season. So
Yeah.
with that being said, Miss Mima, what were 3 things that you liked about this episode?
Oh my God. I'll just say that it was a great episode, but I struggled to find things that I liked just because a lot of things were shocking. I feel like the way it happened. And I know it's episode 9, but I don't know. It was like back to back. I couldn't catch myself. Uh,
And that's for all you people that say, oh, it's so slow. Oh my God, I
yeah,
can't
it
tell.
was fast forward, okay? Like with the action. Um, can we start with the things we didn't like? Because I don't know. It's like
Hey,
a mix.
we can switch
It's
it
a
up.
mix of the two.
Okay, tell me.
Okay. The way they started off the episode with Krystal, it was a lot to process. And um they just did my girl dirty. I can't. It was horrible. It's like I feel like Famous was a hard pill to swallow, but we didn't see the torture. With
Pause.
Krystal, did she really deserve that on screen killing? Homegirl didn't even swallow her sandwich. Like she
The
just
bread was still stuck to the roof of her mouth. She couldn't even swallow it before she got shot. Jesus.
I think I'm also like, I don't know, I'm really angered by who did it and the way she did it. She did finesse her, like, oh, come here, baby, like, eat this sandwich. You must be so hungry. And it's like, wow, that was cold blooded.
Yeah.
I just feel like Krystal, I knew she would die. And I think we discussed this last season when she was like flirting with Kanan when Jukebox was in the group. Because I really didn't care for her energy because she was seeming like a little sketel. But
That's the hell. You wanted that?
she was giving a little Tatiana. So
Wow.
I know she would die messing with Kanan because that's just kind of like a part of the life. But I started to like her. I started to like, her character and how she was influencing his life. I thought they were a good pair. I didn't see her ending being that tragic and that cold. It was just like maybe if like even was it OC? That was kind of rough too. But Krystal, I feel like she got done worst out of all of them. It was really hard to watch.
You
So
know, I think you bring up a good point. Like all of the deaths, excuse me, I cannot talk. All of the death scenes in this show, they're for the ones that we do see, they're pretty abrupt and then they're brutal, right? Like even when we think back to Scrap, right? They
yeah,
lure him into this warehouse. They leave Rock there to do it, and she just walks up. This is someone that she's known for years, and then just shoots him in the head. So to me, that's even more brutal, right? And then fast forward to someone like Krystal. Actually, let me stop at OC. OC, he doesn't have any ties or any familial ties, and we don't get to know him on a different level besides him being a snake, right? But just the fact that he annoyed Unique enough for Unique to just be like, you know what, you want to go? Okay, let's go. You can go now. And he shoots him. Just no, no thoughts about it. No one even bats an eye when he does it. And then for Krystal, they had the right idea, right? Let's get you out of town because they going crazy over here, right? She does make a stop to advocate for Kanan, right? And to go to his mother, to talk to his mom and say, hey, I can't tell you that he thinks it's you, but I think you need to talk to him so that he can stop thinking that it's you, right? She doesn't say all of that, but that's essentially why she goes there. And the dirty cops that Pops and Snap were working with, they pull her off the Greyhound or the Peter Pan bus going to Delaware. And and then we find out in this episode that she was tortured, that she was held captive on a dirty mattress and handcuffed. So
It's all right.
and it doesn't seem like Pops and Snaps were directly involved with that part. Apparently, she must have told them enough information for them to still keep her alive. And then the reason why Pops comes in is because she needs to get the key point to the information, right? So she wants to know, who is Kanan thinking is doing all of this stuff. So as far as we know, he only approaches Pops and Snaps because he believes that they have their ear to the street, and because they pretty much sit up on, they're like owls, right? Like the old owls who just sit on a tree branch and they're just literally just looking around and observing everything around them, or at least so he thinks, right? He doesn't know that they are getting their hands dirty by, one, killing Famous, two, facilitating the kidnapping of Krystal. So she ends up in the crossfire. She didn't get out of town quick enough because he didn't start putting together the pieces quick enough, because he's so blinded by revenge or blinded by his hatred rather of his mother, that he can't see the chessboard clearly. He just thinks everything that is going on is a byproduct of his mother's mishaps or some of the things that she is doing. Either way, Krystal being killed, that is just another chink in his armor, because everyone always asks, how do they get to be the people that we saw, or the grown-ups that we saw in the original Power? And you're seeing all of it one by one. Look at all of the people he's lost so far, right? And obviously there is going to be some sort of shift in his relationship with Juke, because although they still do work together as adults, like there is definitely a hierarchy between them, whereas she kind of looks at him like the little cousin and pretty much like the fuck up, right? Because he has messed up everything so far.
Yeah.
Am I bugging?
No, you're not.
Okay. So Krystal dying, we know that that's going to be a problem. And if you guys are, depending on when you guys are hearing this, please be aware that obviously we are going to talk about spoilers from episode 9. And right now, we're going to talk about some of the images that came out for episode 10. So we see Kanan go to a cemetery. Now, I'm theorizing that that is Crystal's grave plot that he's visiting, because we do find out in episode 9 that they found her body. And through the help of Jukebox going to Garcia, he found the body in a stairway. So we know that she died. And in episode 10, it looks like he finds out also that she is dead, and he goes to visit the gravesite. So this is just something else for him to add to the hatred of the rock bag for Kanan.
Yeah. But I get it. I get like last season. how he could feel like that about his mother. But this season I just feel like he's taking it too far. I mean, and I get it. He's pulling from everything that has happened thus far in his life that he's witnessed her do, but he's wrong. Like you said, he's missing all the other clues because he's so focused on her being the person
Him
and
and
trying to pin it
Unique.
on her.
Him and Unique. Two peas in a pod. Him, the worst people to ever get
Yeah.
together. It's Unique
No.
and Kanan.
Facts.
It's point.
My
Alrighty.
God.
Okay, so tell me something else. So you didn't like how we started off the episode. Not that it wasn't a good scene, but just like it was really brutal. But what else?
Okay. So just for the whole episode, right? Juke, I like that she went to Garcia to like find out about Krystal.
Okay.
However, I don't like the fact that she's gonna owe him a favor.
It's probably the reason why she ended up being a cop.
Because I'm like, what is the payback gonna be for that? That's what that left me feeling like. Um, to piggyback off of the Krystal thing, just one more thing. Why is it that these cops, these dirty cops, right? Why are they torturing these kids? That part of the script I'm not getting. Like I don't, like I just don't understand that part. Why is it always this level of torture to these children?
Oh, if I think back, uh, now granted, you and I, we were children in the 90s. We were babies. Like even
Yeah.
we're at 93.
That's when it's supposed to be taking place, right?
Right
93?
now they're in 93. But if I even with a quick Google search or even just from memory, like Black children, or even right now, right? Black children are the most vulnerable and susceptible to police harm and torture and being manipulated by them because no one is coming to search for you. No one is looking for you. There was nothing on the news. Your family is saying, look, even I'll put it this way. Kanan is looking for Krystal. Snaps and Pops are able to find Krystal quicker than what Kanan or the news or what any other
Yeah.
media outlet at the time are able to procure on Krystal. And when you're involved in the streets and people aren't going to talk, it's just a never ending cycle of no one caring. And I keep apologizing for my voice because I feel like I can't get things out the way how I want to, but people just don't care. And they know that no one is going to come looking. They didn't they couldn't even find they didn't even identify her when when Garcia is talking to Juke, he actually calls her a Jane Doe. We found a Jane in the hallway, and I'm like, damn, so no one even knew her? They didn't even identify the body yet? Like, what?
That's what I'm saying. Why is it going to this level? Like, it's bad enough you're gonna take them out, but but I guess
Yeah, so
maybe
I mean, the torture and all it's a lot because Famous was young, right? Famous is what, 17, 18 years old, maybe he's 19, the oldest that he could have been at the time of his murder. Same for Krystal. Maybe Krystal was 18, 19. I think that they're around the same age because I know that Jukebox is like a year or two older than Kanan. But they're all still teenagers essentially, and this leads into a deeper topic about the adultification of Black children and how people don't see them as children. They don't have the same level of empathy, the same level of care for Black children. Because even the cops running down on Kanan when he was a little boy, they didn't they treat you like an adult. You're not allowed to make mistakes. You're not allowed to um get into trouble. So you're just an adult, and that's all they see you as. And I think they're making a larger point about this. And I'm glad that we are able to pick up on that. I don't think that many other podcasts do those things.
yeah. So I'm just like, what is happening? But yes. All right. But okay, that's what I didn't like. I want to hear what you because I was kind of stuck on that. What about you?
So this I was going to save until later, but I think we should talk about it right now because it's not something that I don't like for the show per se, but I don't like it because I know where it's gonna lead, or I feel I know where it's gonna lead. And this flip flopping by Lou is is rubbing me
Okay.
the wrong way, right?
Okay.
So last week when we saw Lou come back and he went into action and he did the whole line about Jambo, right? When he did that, I was like, snap, he's back. But then I started to think about it like, do we really, really want him back doing those things? Because I remember in the beginning of the season when we had Sasha Penn on the show and I started making predictions, right? Just to see what he would like if I can read his facial expressions, if he'll just like indulge me a little bit, right? Like see if I can get some information out of him. And I said, Marvin is messing up right now. Like he is consistently every week. Marvin got something else that he's doing that he really not supposed to be doing, right? And we'll talk about some other stuff that Marvin got into in this episode. But I said, because Marvin is Rock's right hand, so to speak, and she is all that she really has to lean on. There's going to be an opening for Lou to come in. And he looked like this. He was like that. And I was like, okay, I'm on the right track, right? He didn't say anything, but I was like, I know I'm on the right track. But I know that there's going to be an opening for Lou to come in. And here is the opening now, right? Because her back is against the wall. Unique has pretty much obliterated her business. Like all of the Asian cast members or recurring members on the show are gone. So there's no more David, there's no more Terry, there's no more Huang. But everything is done with them. So that part of their business in terms of transporting the drugs, finish. So now they have to lean on Stefano. But in addition to that, Stefano goes to Rock and tries to put a bug in her ear and say, well, Marvin came to me and is talking about replacing you, which is a whole lie, right? It's a
Like
lie.
why?
But he still planted the seed. And here comes the opening for Lou now about the whole Dragon Slayer argument. And she said something, and she was like, you know what? He was like, what do you call a person who does this? She was like, you call them a cab. And I'm like, yes, call him a cab. You don't want him in this anymore because he he has made so many strides in terms of going to AA. He has been trying to heal. Their mother just passed away. And he said something to his mother. She was like, I don't know what that would do to me. It's not that I can't do it, right? Because I could do it, but I don't know what it's going to do to me mentally. And I'm
He
like,
did say that.
so where's all of this coming from now? You think just because of
Yeah.
one thing with B Rilla, now you're okay to
You want
put
the
that in
smoke again. Yeah.
now you want it again? So I why I don't like it is because I feel like it's leading us down a path of us losing Lou. Like he's gonna die. He like one of the main characters have to die. They have to.
I think they're gonna die eventually. But
Eventually, but not while
but
the
the
show is
next
running.
episode, nah. I mean,
No, no, no.
because it's like, yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think episode 10 that Lou is
Yeah.
going to kick the bucket. But I do think that he is one of the siblings that has to essentially
Yeah.
to die because they have been foreshadowing his death for season after season after season.
That is
Right?
true.
We even went as far as him almost taking his own life, right?
Yeah.
So it just doesn't seem like he's gonna make it through this whole thing. And I think that, that thing that writers do, or I forget the proper terminology for it, but not foreshadowing. But when we continuously build up a character throughout a series and we give them like near experiences with death and then they come back something really tragic happens to them and then they redeem themselves and then after that they do more stuff to help. So here's what's going to happen, and I'm just speculating here. I don't have screeners. I don't I don't have the script. I don't write for the show. I speak to people who write for the show, and they don't give me anything because they can't. But we're gonna build him up again just for us to be severely heartbroken when he dies. See what they did with Unique? Whereas Unique was the top op, right? But then he saved Rock, and we loved him because then they had a relationship, or however short it was, and then they killed him off the show, and then everybody went into an uproar, and then they brought him back again, and now he's top op again. So do you see what I mean? How like they make you love him, make you hate him, and then once you love him again, that's when they take him away from you. And I think they're gonna do that with Lou. So that's why I didn't like why he came back to the side.
Okay.
What do you think?
Honestly, I'm feeling maybe that might be the case for Marvin more than Lou, because of the way that Marvin has been in everything this season. It's like, I feel like last season he redeemed himself. The season before that, it was like, Marvin, what the hell are you doing? You keep jacking things up. He went through this horrible point where he had to get himself together. Last season, Marvin was like the good guy, like he tried to help out the guy.
The breathing?
Exactly. And now it's like he's spiraling back again, and it's like, how did we get here, Marvin? So I honestly see them taking out Marvin before they take out Lou. I don't know, but that's just my feeling, because Marvin is spiraling on so many different levels with so many different people. I just don't see how he's gonna escape it all.
So okay. Let's talk about Marvin a little bit because Marvin had a lot of stuff going on in this episode. Um, we could start off with Stefano putting him out on Front Street in front of Rock, where he's like, "Oh, you know a thing or two about going behind people's backs, right? You know something about that."
He keep throwing the jabs. I'm like, my God, between Rock and Marvin, he just cleaning the floor with them.
I know, just played on the floor with them. But he tells Early, he's like, "What are you going to do about it?" And Early went and told on him, essentially, like a little kid. He went and told on him because he knows he can't play with crazy ass Marvin because Marvin is crazy. Marvin is nuts. You can't play with him because he's going to shoot Londell, to which he already did. And then Early, his only retort to that is, "Oh, my family is not going to take that line down," but you did, and then you went to somebody and told on him,
Yeah.
and you still didn't avenge your cousin, and you can't really do anything to him because y'all know that he got Rock behind him. He still got a crazy ass little brother who is running back and forth between the streets and music.
True.
And then there's Stefano's people. They're still protected by them, at least how it appears, right? From what they know. They don't know the inner workings. They're not sitting at the conversations with Rock, Stefano, and I was going to call him London, and Marvin. So, for all he knows, they're protected. So that's why he goes back and tells on him. But then, let's talk about some of the other things that Marvin does. Marvin goes to help his daughter and they end up killing her girlfriend's ex-husband or estranged husband. He then, this episode, goes to find what is her name? Amber, Gerald's daughter Amber, in a foster home. And he doesn't just beat up the foster parents, right? What does Marvin do? Marvin says, and he kills the mother and the father, and then turns back around and say, "Hey, I'm gonna circle back on you. But when the cops come and you have to call us in, just tell them it was a white guy with tattoos." Lord, have mercy.
I was like, please, this is too much. Too much for one episode.
That part I couldn't even fully like get through it yet because I'm still reeling from the other things that we just saw. Right? I was just like,
Yes.
"Wait, what?" So
And a part of me was like, whoa, 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 why did they fit this in here? Like, this is a lot. This is a lot. You could have spread this out.
we didn't even get over the other stuff that he did. First of all, Marvin played a postman, kills a maid man outside of the funeral. Right? He opened up full fire on Unique, right? Remember, like all of of these things are happening, and he runs throughout the projects, gets shot, still makes it. Marvin, how many times Marvin been shot? Twice so far, right? Because he got shot.
Yes.
No, 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 no. He didn't get shot in the
Remember
house
when
with
the
the
his
guy.
therapist, yeah, when the therapist got killed.
When the
He didn't.
therapist
I
got
don't
killed,
think he got shot, but he was shot at.
he was shot at. No, no, no. When
Yeah.
he was in the fight with the, did he
Oh,
get shot
in the
this?
projects,
Yes. So he got
I
shot
think he
there,
did
but
get shot. He did get shot.
no, he got shot there. But what happened to him this season? He got shot this season, right? Am I bugging? Remember when Jukebox was clearing it out earlier this season? After they had the thing with the, when Jukebox was in the house and she kills the lady's ex-husband or estranged husband.
Did he shoot? Did he shoot him? Did he shoot Marvin?
Something happened with his arm. I have to go back to that episode.
Yes.
God, it feels so long ago at
He
this
was putting
point.
a beating on his ass, but I don't know if he shot him, but yeah,
So
he did
maybe
get injured.
he did get injured,
Yeah.
but whatever the case is, right? Like Marvin has mad stuff going on right now, and to throw on top of that, he just killed two foster parents. Just like
In broad daylight.
broad daylight, he killed Terry, he killed Quan, he killed. Oh
I guess
God,
they
he
didn't have
killed
cameras back
Mondell.
then.
Wait, no, well, yeah, in the 90s, we didn't have Big Brother watching us as much as we do now. I mean, that Patriot Act really turned up surveillance a great deal. So we didn't have it as much as we have right now. But there was cameras. There were cameras in the 90s. Contrary to popular
I
belief.
just wonder why the writers decided at that moment, let's throw in the little girl. Let's just make him check on her. Like why?
Well,
Why?
here's what I was thinking, right? You know how everybody has something to hold on to, like that moment of levity for them, like something that keeps them grounded to earth? I
Okay.
think that Marvin has two of those things, right? So Jukebox is one of them. And I feel like she's kind of slipping away a little bit because she's getting into the family business. He's still keeping her close as much as he can, but she's turning into him and he doesn't want that. And he said that already, but he's still trying to hold on to something that's pure and something in his life that isn't tainted by all of this. And I think that that's where
Yeah,
Amber comes in because
that's
he
fair.
does feel a sense of guilt about what happened to her dad. And she's essentially an orphan now. Oh, she is an orphan. She's an orphan now because of him killing the father. And she isn't with her sister either. And I think he feels responsible for that. So that keeps him grounded in a sense. And which
Yeah.
is why he probably goes back to visit her. But wherever he goes, trouble follows. And I mean, Marvin is essentially judge, jury, and executioner. Once you cross the line with him, and if he feels that there is something that you are doing that is out of line, you're going to die. And I know I keep bringing this up, and I- it may it may seem redundant at this point, but Sasha Penn himself said, because I feel like Marvin has a whole bunch of plot armor, but he says Marvin can do whatever the fuck he wants, and I was just like, and when he said that, I was just like, oh, okay, well, that's the reason why I feel like he's the one that's gonna live, because if you're saying he can do whatever he wants, the person who created the show was saying that, then I say, well, he we're just gonna go through the show with Marvin getting away with anything. Which is why I kind of feel like because he's the fan favorite and because people like the character so much, he can do whatever he wants and they will be able to write him out of whatever trouble he's in. Even at the beginning of the season with the lawyer, they pretty much snuffed everything out. What Detective Howard was saying, oh, we need to pin this on Marvin. And that's what made Rock decide to kill him. They didn't really have any information on Marvin, or at least that's what Andre told us. He was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. You're fine. That investigation is closed." So he could do whatever he wants.
I feel like Marvin dying would leave us with like it would be a major impact. Lou dying at this point, we would be sad, but would it change the series of the show of how it plays out? Like I feel like that will really throw a monkey wrench in the show if they take out Marvin at this point.
I wonder what they're going to do for season 5 in terms of timeline. Like if we're going to skip ahead a little bit, or if we're just going to keep going like month by month, or 3 months skip ahead, or six
That's
months skip
true.
ahead. Because I see what you're saying about the impact of the character, but that's what I'm saying. They're going to continue to build up Rue.
Okay.
They're going to continue because right now he is going to be the savior for Rock. He's going to start getting things on track, right? He's going to be the person that she can depend on, because whereas Marvin keeps making mistakes and doing things behind her back and trying to prove to himself that he doesn't really need her, or that he is his own man and can essentially operate outside of her, not in like a traitor aspect, but in a manly or machismo aspect.
Yes.
So uh, Lou has no problem playing his position. I don't think that ego is his issue. I think his issue was that he has a love for music, and that some of the things that his sister asked him to do, I don't think that she necessarily considered his mental health and how it would affect him.
Yeah.
And that's where they had a disconnect, and why he probably felt like he needed to step outside of it for a little bit. But
I see your point of view on that, and now like that I'm thinking more on it.
Mhm.
It seems like when Lou stepped aside to take care of his mental health and take time away or whatever, you're realizing that Rock and Marvin really don't need him like that. That's just how it's been looking to me. Like they have been holding it down, and we haven't really noticed that. Like
that he was gone.
Lou stepping to the side did not have an impact on the show. It did not make us feel like, oh, it feels so empty now that Lou is not part. It just shows how insignificant to me it kind of seems like his role in the three of them is, because they're running business without him just fine. Even though Marvin is making a lot of mistakes, um, I think that would still happen even if Lou was still running with them and there. Because so I could see what you're saying when he could be the one that's being taken out, because I mean his character is starting to feel insignificant, especially now that the music is not a part of it anymore. And it's just like, well, what is he gonna do that's gonna wow us in episode 10 to make us feel like, yeah, Lou is back? Or I don't know.
He gonna come through and save the day. That's what he gonna do. Uh,
We gotta
so
see.
so one of the themes that I did want us to explore is just some things that came across when I was thinking about the title of the episode. So some stuff that I wrote in my notes. I think that this episode is about making choices, right? So it's about the time where everyone has to show where their allegiance lies. So for instance, Rock is tested by Stefano. Marvin is tested by Early. We already went through those things, right? Lou is tested by the NYPD and Imani, and he pretty much lets Imani go. He doesn't even care about the breakup, so to speak. And he like that.
That was the one thing I liked. I just was not feeling her, but this is another story. Yeah.
Man. So, but what remember what we were talking about earlier, like the levity, and she is a person that could have been the person that kept him grounded, whereas you don't have to feel like you need to be a murderous drug dealer every single day. There has to be someone outside of all of this that can make you feel safe or vulnerable, or whereas you don't have to be the gunman, the tough guy with them at all times. And I thought that she could have been that, but she's essentially saying, I'm not doing that for you.
And that just still makes me feel kind of like how I felt all along. Like, what was your intention? Like, if you were so invested and you so like this guy and he's the person for you, you just give up just like that off of the assumption. Because I get she's like, oh, the story didn't add up, and it's like she's just feeling like, I don't want no parts of this. But it's like, whoa, you're not even hearing him out. If this is somebody you say that you like, and you know he's trying to change his life around, she didn't even kind of let it play out a little bit more. So it's like, I could see why Lou was just like, leave. You clearly wasn't invested, or you wasn't here really for the right reasons. I just always felt like something was, and I know you're like, no, I don't think that's why she's there, but that's just how I felt. And then the way she just was like, peace out, because the cops came one time to interview, it was just like, okay, leave then.
There, I think there's a large, if this was a different podcast, right? I think that there would be something here that we could talk about in terms of how some women would stay and subscribe to
Yes.
that type of love, whereas they could be possibly be put in danger. The person isn't necessarily looking out for their well-being, and how some women have an affinity towards struggle love. And she didn't subscribe to any of that. She was like, my life is in danger, my livelihood is in danger, and I'm not about to play these games with you. Whereas I got to figure out if I got to lie for you, do things for you, and you can't tell me the truth, but you can't even tell yourself the truth. I'm out of here. So, and most women would stick around because they're so desperate to have a partner. Whereas she is like, peace. So, but this is a different podcast than that. This is
Okay, so
talk to
I
me.
get it. I totally agree with all that you're saying. However, the flip side of that is when Famous Sister came, she was like, oh, if you're sleeping with her, just let me know. So it's like, well, you was cool to ride along with that, but the cops come one time and you like, oh, I'm not dealing with this. Da, da, da. So it's like you didn't have boundaries then, but now you want to have boundaries with this. Yes, it's two different things, but it's just like, who did you think Lou was? You know?
She didn't know. She didn't know because he didn't tell
So
her.
it was okay if he had a poly, they had a poly situation going on.
Again, desperation presents itself in different ways. Some women are okay with you sleeping around, right? Like maybe that's something that they would be able to compromise on. But in terms of her livelihood being compromised, and in terms of her life being compromised, she's like, you know what? That's too much for me. I could circumvent STIs and STDs with a condom, but I cannot circumvent a bullet. Circumvent the cops and a bullet. So maybe that was too much for her. But I think that he's just not a good fit for her. And I think that she seemed a little desperate, even with the thing about her. Just tell me about Jessica. I thought
She's
that
a
that
fraud. She's a fraud. I
okay,
don't.
all right.
She's a fraud. She's a fraud. She came off like, oh, I could hang. If you sleeping with other people, I could hang. And now the cops come and you're like, peace, can't do it, can't hang. Be about it. If you're gonna play that role and you're gonna act like, just be upfront and be honest with me. And then for me, the way she just flipped like that, it was like, just like that, just because the cops came and questioned him this one time, now he's just no more somebody you desire, but you was willing to deal with Famous Sister being on the side. It just doesn't add up to me. I just feel like she's a fraud. But I always felt she was a fraud. So I'll just say how I feel, but
No, I know. And
she
hey,
turned out to be what I thought she would be. I just was never Krystal was more grounded than Imani. Of course. Imani came off like that's what she was trying to portray she was, but she never was. She couldn't hang. And I don't know. I just didn't understand the whole them connecting, and then the way it just ended like that. It was like, what was the purpose in that?
all right. So back to the theme. So we went through Rock, Marvin, Lou, being tested by the NYPD, him letting Imani go. Essentially, Lou was just trying to figure out who he is and where he belongs. And somebody else that was doing that is also Juke. She is tested by the NYPD. Specifically, Garcia, who bucks up on her in the street on a dessert date with Aisha. And she also visits the I can't remember this lady's name. Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. But he he asks her while she's with Aisha to talk, and Aisha leaves, and he really wants her to be a good civilian. And is Juke a good civilian? At this point, for all intents and purposes, we'll say yes, because they don't know that she killed someone or that she let shots off in the park in broad daylight, right? They don't know any of this stuff. But she is able to use their relationship to find out the information about Krystal, to which we get that she is killed. And then I'm just trying to go through my notes because there was something else that I wrote about you. Oh, right. Sorry. The takeaway from there from Juke here is that she's trying to figure out who she is. Is she a singer in a girl group? Is she a college student? Is she is she a killer? Is she someone who should be in the army? Is she someone that should be a cop? I mean, to which we find out later on that she does go that route, but she makes a statement, and here's the quote. She says, "Maybe I am like my family after all." That's what she tells Aisha. So there's no more of her switching sides. She knows where she is. She knows that she is like her family. She is essentially going to be a part of the family business in some capacity. We don't see her dealing the way how Kanan is. We don't see her in the mud the way how Rock and Marvin are up until this point. But she's essentially like them because she has it within her. So remember what I was saying about them picking a side and we find out everyone's allegiance? We know where hers is. And hers is with Rock, which is why she calls her in to speak to Kanan at I think this was like the second scene, because she knows that their relationship is tattered. And she's kind of like the bridge between them at this point. And she says something so good to Rock, where she's like, stop trying to focus on this is not the exact quote, but stop trying to focus on trying to win him over and focus on trying not to lose him. And Rock is the one that has to figure out that at this point, because her son is off the deep end right now. And we mentioned this briefly earlier about, of all people, for Kanan to meet up with and to exchange notes with would be unique. And if we could talk about Kanan going to see Unique, that scene just made me shake my head all over again because I was like, Lord have mercy. He tells him that he chose Ronnie, and Unique is pretty much just like, well, I didn't like him either. And just because they're your family, don't mean, don't mean that you got to have any sort of allegiance to them. And that's all Kanan needs to hear, because he's already like, sorry, like, just because she's my mother doesn't mean that her partner, I just get my work from her. I was like, this nigga put up the river already? But like that. Mm. So I don't know. How did you feel about them meeting?
I feel like it was gonna happen eventually. Um, it did play out differently though. I thought that they would join forces. I mean, that's still to be determined. It could be episode 10. However, after he finds out about Krystal, we will see what happens there. But I thought when they did meet up and they were discussing, I thought that they would join together. Like that would be the thing. But he just kind of came looking for answers and he left. Because he was like, I know what you're trying to do. You're just trying to put me against my mother. You just want my mother to be pissed off. And he kind of rolled out. So he still has some kind of sense, where it's like,
Yeah, he's not completely stupid, right? But
yeah, yeah,
he is making dumb decisions though, because they're
very
based
much so.
on they're based in truth about some of the things that his mother has put him through. But like, when they had the conversation at the diner, she's like, why would I tell you Shorty came to visit me if I was gonna kill her?
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like, think about it. And then before all of this, remember when they had the meeting in the kitchen I think this was episode 7. It could be episode 7 or 8. And she's go when they do the whole reveal about Unique eating the ice cream. And in the next episode, she's like, listen, Unique was the one that killed the distributors. Unique was the one that did this. Unique was the one that did that. And then his only question after that is, okay, well, why he didn't kill you? And help me, help me, help me.
So I'm just gonna give him grace that he's still thinking with
Yeah.
a child's mind. Also, she did a lot of messed up stuff, and I
She
feel
did.
like
I get it.
I feel like Rock needs to get better at communicating. Okay, I know that's probably not in this storytelling for this show, and her character will never develop on that level, but she just kills people like her taking out his father, and then there's no discussion after that. It's just like, so you gonna go to your grandmother? Like, it's like, ma'am, could you address why you just killed his father?
Ma'am. And you killed his grandmother, but nobody don't know.
It's like
Wait.
she just does these things, and she's just like, and then you're getting mad when 2 + 2 = 5 for him. Like, you don't explain anything
No,
to
that's
him. You
true.
just
That's true.
kind of
That's true. That's true. But I think there is a scene. It's small.
yeah.
There's a scene in this episode that I feel that sums up Rock completely.
Okay.
So David gets killed in the club doing what he loves. He's getting high, he's partying, and he gets
Character
killed.
was so such a mess. Yeah.
It's such a mess. But so Lamar Jackson had a cameo appearance this week on the show. So shout out to him. And he comes in and he kills David. When Rock comes into the trucking facility and she sees all the women crying, she just walks through the plastic and sees them crying. Is like, in her head, she's like, "Where's David?" They do the reveal that everybody's crying. She just goes like this. And goes, only thing you saw her shoulders go up like this, and she just turns back around and goes back down. No, no questions, no nothing. She's just like, "Oh my God, he dead too."
No, my condolences. No, oh
Nothing.
my God, not a shed
Nothing.
a tear.
Nothing. Nothing. She just
She
she
more
just
pissed
goes.
off. It's like the people crying. Console them. You know, say you're sorry for their loss. You just
Nothing. She just shrugs her shoulders and was just like, "Oh my God, something else I gotta fix." And then she goes out and she leaves. And that pretty much sums her up. She
her
just
character does not have a heart.
she, she does. It's just that she can't let it show because she has to deal with mess. The mess. That's the mess. That's the mess. And just has to keep she has to keep you know when you how do you say this? Like when you just have to keep absolving, not absolving, when you just have to absorb, you just have to keep absorbing the blows. So like she can dodge them, right? But after a while, like you just have to be able to take a hit. So you know when you fight it, right? I don't know when's the last time you had a fight or if you ever fought, right? You're gonna get some licks. You're gonna get some licks.
Yeah.
And if you can't take the hits, you're gonna crumble. You're gonna be on the floor like this, just trying to guard your face, right? And at this point, she's dodging, right? She's trying to dodge the hits, but she has to take some of those. She got to take some of those gut punches. And that's why she just has to turn around, walk out, and be like, "Hey, Stefano, we don't got no more trucks no more." And he's like, "Okay, well, you can do this for a little bit of time, but that's not really my lane. So y'all can do it for a little bit until you find something else." She was like, "Okay, we on it. Got to find somebody else." Okay. And that's that. She just got to keep going. And that's pretty much her demeanor throughout the whole show, which is why there is a lack of communication because she doesn't have time to talk through things
It's
with
true.
people.
It's true. That is true.
She doesn't have time to sit down.
She just has to keep figuring out a solution because things keep happening and she keeps having to fix something. Then the next day she's fixing something else. So she keeps moving without fixing. But that's just how the life is set up. Well, her life is set up.
And it's her own doing. So I'm not even saying that, oh, this is making an excuse for her. Like she's done all of this because this is how she has groomed everyone to interact with her. Even before all of the things that we are seeing right now, she didn't sit down and explain everything to Kanan. Besides the camping trip that they had where they went upstate to the Catskills, that's the most that she talked about him and even talked to him. And even then, she still didn't go through all of the things with his father. She made the decision to kill him, to kill Howard without consulting, or not even consulting, but even debriefing with her son afterwards about her decision making to do so.
Exactly.
She could have said to him, "Hey, he was trying to pin things on your uncle, and I choose, it is always family first in my eyes. And you are my family, my brother is my family, and that is that. I'm always going to protect you guys," even though that is the mantra. But if you just explain little nuances, maybe he would be more inclined to be on your side if you gave those tidbits of information. But she doesn't have time to do that.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. We went through, and nothing ever working in their favor. When he yells out to Juke, it's like, nothing ever works out for us. And I was like, boy, if you really have
Yes, he's telling the truth.
so
There is no happy ending for them.
none. So we're going to end the episode on a prediction. And nothing
Okay.
ever works out for them, right? So here's the question that I have for you. We have heard tons of different theories, right? And we talk about who we think is going to survive. And let me preface this by saying we did hear the news report in the original Power after, spoiler alert, after Kanan dies. We hear he has no surviving family members, right? But something that, hold on, but something that Sam from Power is Fire says to me the last time he was on the show, he was like, when we talk about surviving family members, we only talk about next of kin. So it'll either be your mother or your children that they are normally talking about. So does that mean that maybe Uncle Marvin is still alive? Maybe Uncle Lou is still alive? Or could Rock survive? But that's not really the question. We see that they're setting up that there is a shift or a really big shift in their relationship. Do you think Kanan is capable of setting his mother up and killing her?
I think he has the heart to do it. I don't. Because, okay, Rock, she makes a lot of decisions and she does not consider his feelings. However, a lot of the things is off of his assumption, right? The only valid thing he has is like, him witnessing he found out about D-Wiz, his dad being killed, but did he have a strong enough relationship with Howard, at that point? Like, there was things he didn't know clearly that she made that decision that she made, right? I don't think all of the things, the assumptions plus the things he does know is enough for him to pull the trigger and kill his mom. That's just what I think. He has a lot of anger. I still don't think he has the heart to do it.
I don't think, no, not just that he doesn't have the heart. I don't think that he is smart enough to do it. Oh, not yet.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's cunning enough to do it yet. I don't think that he's dumb. I don't think that he doesn't have the capacity to do it, because I think that
That's
they're
true.
setting it up that his mother is a traitor to him for all intents and purposes because of what he has gone through with Famous, losing Krystal, and I'm pretty sure that there are other traumatic life events that are going to happen in his life. And eventually, we don't even know if he's going to find out that his mother is the one that assisted his grandmother in dying. We don't even know if he's going to find that part out yet and how he's going to feel about that. But considering how they've treated that character thus far, like she didn't even get a funeral, so who knows if they're going to revisit it. But I do think he has the capacity to do it because he is becoming heartless, so to speak, and the way how he speaks to her is crazy. But I don't know if he can pull it off, is I guess my reservation with all of this. Sure. Thank you. Sorry, guys. promise. I'm gonna try to be better by next episode. But I've taken everything, all of my allergy pills, all of my medicine I take it. But right now I am dying because of this stuff. But any parting words before we leave for today?
I just wanted to add in just a little bit off to the end of that for Kanan killing his mother. I also think about his relationship with Jukebox, and he loves Jukebox. That's his sister, and he did love Krystal. Like, there was a love there, right? And those two women in his life that he does trust were telling him they don't believe his mother did that, right? So I feel like he's going to take that into consideration too, that Krystal was certain that it wasn't his mom, and that Jukebox feels that way also. And they also, Jukebox has a strong relationship with Rock. So I think his selfishness of wanting to kill her because he just feels like she's ruining his life. He does know it would have a impact on not only him but Marvin, Jukebox, the family. It will be a lot. Just not his capacity to do it on himself and his smarts do it on himself. I think the impact that it would have on the other family members, especially the grandmother's gone, and it's, Lou, Jukebox, and Marvin. I just feel like all of that too he'll think about. So I just don't see him being the one. Now, him edging on Snap and Pops and Unique to do it.
Uh yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. So that, I was gonna end the show on that, but there is something that I did leave out that I so after the revelation about, Lou wanting to be a dragon slayer and after Snaps and Pops tell Kanan that his mom is the one to do it, right? We do because she says, we Pops tells him, oh, we spoke to our friends at the NYPD. They have no reason to lie to us that your mom was the one that paid the dirty cops to do this. And he finds out that information from Snaps and Pops. Whether or not he believes them, as far as we know, he believes them, right? But there is something that we didn't get to talk about, and we could do it quickly. How do you think the meeting is going to go between Unique and Rock and Lou? Because this is not the first time they had a meetup. But at the end of the episode, they go pay Unique a visit. Do you think that this is going to do is there going to be a truce between them? Or is it just going to make matters worse because of what Kanan knows now?
So my initial thought when it ended like that and I saw that, I'm thinking that they're going to join forces to take out Stefano. That was my initial thought. I didn't think past that part. But I think they may come together. I do not think Rock is going there to threaten Neek. I think she's trying to come to some type of, like you said, truce or agreement. And they probably we need to join forces to take out these mobsters.
Okay. I think wow, I didn't think of that, but remember Marvin had brought up that point before in episode 8. He's like, I think we got to take Stefano out. So he did plant that seed because Stefano definitely has to go because either he's going to kill them or
That is true, yes.
or they have to kill him because so far on his watch they are messing up.
Yeah.
The
Everything.
way how Brock does business, he doesn't really subscribe because
Yeah,
initially he thought
Stefano's
she was
over her.
great. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
over
he's
her at
over
this
her.
point,
He's over her.
especially when she has to keep coming back and like, hey, this happened this week. So now we have to regroup and come back and find somebody else. And now with the trucks being missing, and she has to come to him for help for that. And let's not forget, she had to borrow a quick 500,000 for him because her son got kidnapped. Like every week, it's a problem with this lady. And I don't know how much longer he's going to be patient with that. So they're going to have to kill him. So bye bye to Tony Danza at this point.
He had a good run. He had a good run.
Had a good run. Had a good run. Had a good
He
run.
made it to episode 10.
He made it to episode 10. Everybody can't say that.
Telling you.
But Mema, Before we go, thank you for dealing with me and my allergies today, everybody. If you made it to the end of
You're
this
fine.
episode, I hope that you love this episode. I really like talking about this episode. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to reference it in more episodes to come. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good week. And thank you, Mema, for being a part of this review episode.